Hey, and welcome to You've Been Served. Today's podcast is sponsored by LTI. LTI has been changing since the 1980s and is one of the country's leading manufacturers of custom counters and decor. Some of their offerings include quick switch technology to serve both hot and cold foods in the same space, and Vision Design Decor Services, which transfers serving spaces using signs, graphics, and paint. Learn more at LTI.com.
How about LTI? Their makeover in their cafeteria rescue in the last edition of Served was incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I'm sure we'll talk about this later. I had a chance to tour their plant. And honestly, Brie, it was like something from the future. It was
really
ridiculous.
Talk about passion. LTI is so passionate about transitioning spaces into more student-friendly, more attractive, and more like when you transform your cafeteria, you are more likely to serve a lot more students.
You are. And I should call something out right now. Like, we are not serving to our full capacity because we are missing a part of our team. Who is that? And where is she?
Where is she?
Where is she?
Good question.
I had to
join us later today.
I'm sure she will. I had to call her out because it's my fault why she's not here. I don't like checking schedules and calendars. So I may have scheduled this podcast at a time on a day that she could not attend. So my bad.
That's partially my fault too, because I don't stalk Amanda's calendar the way I stalk yours.
I love the fact that you know everything like before anybody else because you're always on my calendar. Like, we have stand-up meeting every Monday, and what do you know before every meeting?
Oh, what's on the agenda for the meeting?
But it's not like a public agenda. Like, I have a bad memory, so I put all my stuff in the calendar invite, and then you just happen to know what we're talking about before. Like, I think next Monday you should just host a meeting just based off of my notes.
I can give it a try.
Could you?
I know enough about your calendar and everything that's going on because I'm passionate, and that's why we're here. We're talking about passion and ignite your passion. And last edition of Served, we had so many passionate people contribute and share, and I was so happy with the edition.
We really did. And just back to our sponsors real quick, back to LTI. The amount of passion that they put into every job they do, they do the jobs on the weekend. Like, they come in on a Friday after school is over, redo your cafeteria for you, or your serving space, your serving lines, whatever it is. You come back Monday and it's like a completely new space. And you know what? I know this from firsthand experience because, get this, Brie, they did my old high school's cafeteria.
Oh, really?
Yes, they did. When I worked at Pasco, they came in and they did Land Lakes High School.
And was it like night and day? Like, when you walked in,
oh my gosh,
you shocked?
Night and day. Like, I saw it before it was done, and it was like, this is your typical cafeteria. And then I came back and it was like a food court. It was a cafe, a restaurant at that point. It was pretty cool. It was pretty neat how they did that.
Their work is incredible, and we'll hear more from Mike later, and I'm really looking forward to him being a guest on our podcast today.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. So Mike is actually the first, our first podcast sponsor, and we were super happy to be partnering up with him again. He's a great guy. He has tons of knowledge. He's been doing this for a long, long time, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say about LTI.
What's really cool is that LTI was actually our first Taste TV episode, which is kind of cool. So we have that connection to them. But real quick, let's just recap on why we chose Ignite Your Passion as our theme for this edition of the Digizine.
Why did we choose Ignite Your Passion? I don't know. Yeah.
That was a question, Marlon. Because we're just a really passionate group of people. Our entire team, as many of you know, comes from K-12, and there is no other team like that out there. We're all very passionate about kids, serving the industry and serving each other, and we're a really strong, great team, and we can't get enough of school nutrition.
Yeah, We are extremely passionate. I'm sorry, Brie, I was just messing with you. I know why we chose the chose the theme. But yeah, so that like I came up in K-12. You started in K-12. Amanda, Mike, like we're all part. Like we were raised in child nutrition as operators, and then we made the flip flop to industry. But we've always kept our toes in the sand or in the water, sand or water. Kept our toes in both as far as the operation side, and like that's where we found the passion that fuels us to do all the things that we do today. And we know that we're not the only ones that are passionate. I mean, there are like every food service professional out there is passionate. And they showed that last year or during the pandemic, and they show it day in and day out. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
We had this entire issue was full of people demonstrating what they're passionate about and sharing what they're passionate about. What were some of the articles in this last edition of Serve that you liked? I liked them all, but were there any that really jumped out at you?
I liked them all, but I think I may have liked Betsey's the most. And I can't wait to have her on here. Betsey's article was all about falling back in love with what you do. And it's so often that, you know, you do something and it just becomes kind of monotonous and you kind of lose interest, you get bored, and like you lose that passion, you lose that love. And her article was all about her falling in love again. And I can't wait to have her on to talk about that in a few minutes. But what was your favorite article?
I really like Della's article on being able to adapt to change. I think if you ask any school nutrition professional what they did last year on March 13th, when we all found out we weren't going back to school, the next day they had a plan on what they were doing. So not only were we changing how we were feeding students, but what we were feeding students. And if you've ever worked on the district side, you know that those menus are made like months in advance. So your orders are put in months in advance. So kudos to everybody who was able to make a quick change and adapt like it was nothing, and who are still feeding kids today.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think I just heard the doorbell ring, and that might be, Betsey. Betsey Willard.
Hey,
hi guys.
Hey, stranger.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, good. We had a snow day, so we're just kind of dealing with rerouting food deliveries and all that fun stuff. We actually have another one tomorrow, so trying to figure all that fun stuff out. But doing good.
Adaptation right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Feeding kids on a snow day.
Yes. So
we don't get those where I'm from down here in Florida. It's where it's like 70 degrees, 75.
It feels like it's like 1 degree and we have like a foot of snow. So
oh, that's rough. I was talking to somebody else up there. They said they had like 13 inches.
Yeah.
In Indiana. That's crazy.
That's a lot.
We got a bunch. So, and we're supposed to get a couple more inches tomorrow, I think. So
oh man,
living in Indiana. My husband just asked me this morning, he's like, why do we live here again? And I was like, I don't know. Move
to Florida. Come down
I
here.
know,
We can be
right?
neighbors.
We should. He's been bugging me to move somewhere warm for years. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Telling you, we're nuts.
So Betsey, tell us a little bit about yourself, the district that you work at. Give us all the deets.
So I have been in the school nutrition industry for about 15 years. I've worked in both operator and industry side. And so currently I'm at Franklin Township Community Schools in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we are a pretty metropolitan district. I have about 10,500 students, and we have 12 kitchens that we produce out of. So a fairly large district. We, and we're growing rapidly. So we're in the midst of construction and building additions and things like that as we're trying to, grow, have our buildings grow with our student body. So that's been a challenge in itself, is kind of keeping up with this rapid rate of growth that we have. Our junior high is busting at the seams, and we had to throw in we had to take over a bookstore this year and throw in a fifth line and create a new line, because we just couldn't service all of our kids and give them enough time to eat in the 4 serving lines that we have. So,
wow.
Yeah, the growth has been crazy. It's been a bit of a challenge, but it keeps us on our toes. So what are you going to do?
So whenever you guys grow like that, who taking over the bookstore, turning that into a serving line, who does that? Do you plan that? Do you guys work with the architect, the cafeteria designer?
Yeah. So essentially, it was kind of like, let's take this space over with very little modifications as possible to see if it works. Because that building, because of the growth, is doing a construction project. So they're putting an honors cafe seating area in. And so I was kind of like, like just let's this year see if this space even works for us. And then once we've lived in it for a year and we want to make modifications based on what works and what doesn't work for us, then we can kind of talk about who is going to pay for it, who's going to kind of, spearhead that. Usually it comes from me. I work with the principal and just said, I really need your bookstore. Can I have it? And she was like, yes, I'll figure something else out, because getting kids through the line quick enough and giving them enough time to eat is important for everybody, especially a principal. So she was very much willing to give me that space so I could be able to kind of create that space and hopefully take the stress off of the serving lines that we had. So
yeah, it's very refreshing to hear that, because I do know that often a lot of principals don't always play nicely with food service.
Yes, I have a really good relationship with all of my principals. It's definitely one of those where it can become somewhat of a territorial thing. But when push comes to shove, we're all just trying to do what's best for our kids. So when you come to them and say, like, this is what's going to be best for our kid, you already have 4 serving blocks. You can't fit any more in a day. We cannot get these kids through the lines quick enough. I need this space. Usually, absolutely, my principals are very good at being like, whatever you need, let's work together. So I'm very blessed in that respect.
That's
really
awesome.
good. So that's easy to see why you fell back in love with your job. Not only do you have an awesome job, but you have a good administration that kind of backs you up. That's
absolutely. Good. Absolutely. I get a ton of support from my district. And kind of at the beginning, kind of circling back to my article, at the beginning of the pandemic, we didn't, if you guys remember, there was so much fear last year. Like, what is this? And how do I keep people, like, do we need to stay in our houses to stay safe? And so there was a lot of fear coming from my end as a director. Am I putting my employees, in the line of danger? And so when we first started our curbside feeding, I just went back to my admin and said, we'll do this, but I'm going to need all hands on deck. And essentially every principal showed up every week and helped us do curbside feeding. Every director, even the CFO was out there. The superintendent was out there. They were all helping us do curbside feeding because they knew how important it was for our community. And, like I said, there was just this fear of like, I want to make sure I'm keeping my people safe. And I have such a great administration. They lead from the top down. So them being out there elbow to elbow with my employees, showing them that your job's important and I'm going to be standing next to you handing out these sacks, was a huge motivator. And it kind of really kept us going to be able to say, okay, we're here. It's scary, but we're all doing it. And we're all in the same boat together.
That's so
great.
nice.
Yeah, it was really great. Yeah, it was really great.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brie.
I was going to say, was there any one moment in all of that chaos that made you take a step back and say, I'm in love with this job? Because I know we had talked before in our article recap how it's hard to, it's easy to get into the daily routine and just forget why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So was there any one moment where you was like your aha moment?
I think it was like that first week and how successful it was. And then it was just like I said, my admin was like, oh my God, what did you just pull off? And it was just like, we did that. We did that in 2 days. We did that. We just fed 1,000, we just made 1,000 sacks and gave out, 5,000, meals, 10,000 meals that first week because we did breakfast and lunch. And so it was just that moment of like, that was successful and everyone was just in awe of like what we were able to achieve. And frankly, I was too. It was just amazing to see everybody band together and just dig in and say, okay, this is what we're doing. And, this is what our community needs. So that's what we're going to do. So that was really nice. And yeah, it was at the end every week. And it was every week because we did weekly distribution through the spring and the summer. And every week it was like, we would run out of food or we would hit this point where we had like 1 bag left. And it was like, how many sacks did you do? Because we had 2 sites. And I ran one site and my assistant director ran the other. And her and I would be texting like, how many did you do? And then every week it was like, we would grow and we would grow and we would grow. And it was so thrilling to just have that success, that level of success from something that we ended up throwing together in 2 days. Like I said, we learned every week as, we went on, we transitioned from half pint milk, gallons of milk, because packaging half pint milk is terrible. But, you learned those things that worked for you. But every week, your numbers just went up and they went up and they went up. And even my managers it was like thrilling to them. They're like, oh, how many are we going to do this week? How many are we going to do this week? They just loved to see that what they were doing mattered and that the appreciation they saw. Often we don't see a lot of appreciation in the school nutrition world. We do from the kids, but we don't for a lot from the community. And so to have parents pull up in cars and just say, you guys are a lifesaver right now. Like, this means everything to me, just warmed everybody's heart. And they all showed up week after week for that. So
I'm curious, what kind of meals were you guys serving?
So we learned early on, we just stuck with frozen meals. So what we would do was we would pick an entree and we would say, okay, it's pizza this week. And it was like 4 by 6 pizzas, calzones, breadsticks, those types of things. And we would just package those 5 entrees together. We would package those 5 entrees together. And then that would be the entree, or Smucker's peanut butter and jelly. And then we would do applesauce cups and fruit cups and craisins and raisins. And then we would do carrots for our fruits and vegetables, and obviously our milk component. So we went super basic just because out of utility and survival. And that's what worked best for us. But like I said, the families were grateful for what we were able to do.
I think the coolest part about what you were serving is you were serving things that parents buy at home that they have in their own houses. So it was kind of comforting to them to see what they are providing their kids in their house. You're also serving in the cafeteria. And for me, when I was working in a district during this time, it was an educational opportunity. So parents aren't coming to lunch every day with their students. So being able to bring the meals into the homes of families was huge. Like, they could actually see what we were serving, which was huge for us.
Yeah. I had one parent email me and she said, we don't need the food. But yesterday I asked my daughter what she missed most about school, and she said school lunch. So if you guys can spare it, can I come and pick up food for my daughter? And I was like, absolutely, please come. That we have plenty of food to feed everyone. So I think, it was just like you said, it was a sense of comfort for some students.
That's a great point that you just made. And for any parents who might be listening right now, can we just reiterate and talk about that even if you don't need it, or maybe you do, but you don't think that you need it as much as somebody else, there is plenty to go around. So if you think that you need it, that is what school lunch is there for. Please take advantage of it.
Absolutely. A lot of parents were like, oh, I don't really need it, but it helps. And then in the end, like we did, summer food service. So it was 0 through 18. And I have a 3-year-old. And if we had extra food, I would bring it home to him because he loves it. And because he goes to preschool in our district. And so he knows what school lunch is. And so, he would enjoy those meal components too. So.
Yeah, I know my kids, they loved getting lunch whenever they were doing, virtual learning from home. Every day that school bus would come by and they would see it and they get all excited and want to run outside and get their lunch. It was almost like the ice cream truck or something.
I know. And the beauty of like my district, and a lot of the reason our principals wanted to be part of the distribution was students would come with their parents. They didn't have to be there, but they would. And it was a point of connection for our community. Our students hadn't seen I had teachers volunteer to do curbside all spring and summer too. They wanted so badly to see their students, and those students so badly wanted to see their teachers and their principals that kind of gave them a minute and an opportunity to just see each other's faces. And there was lots of hi Mrs. So-and-so out the window. We got a few cards. We had a parent drop off like a tray of cookies for us. Just like I said, it was just a really good service that we could provide to the community.
So just out of curiosity, with all the extra attention you guys were getting, all the positive PR, all the opportunities to educate parents on your program, did you like take to social media at all and start sharing what you guys were doing?
We've always had a Facebook page. It wasn't really, that we didn't have a ton of followers or, people who liked us, but definitely in that moment and that time, that was mostly where we're doing a lot of our communication was via that Facebook page. So we definitely earned a lot of people following our Facebook page and kind of getting their information from there. And we're trying to use that platform more and more to, highlight our program and our district. So.
Okay.
Did you find that was really time consuming, or would you say that it's for the small amount of work that it is, it's worth it?
I would say for the small amount of work it's worth it. I may need to take a class from you, Brianna, but I'm learning. I got into Canva, so I've been jazzing up my posts and things like that.
Are you going to class?
Oh, I did. I need to. I saw that. I need to take it. But yeah, so it's kind of fun being able to create those things, and then it's that instant gratification of seeing so many people saw it, so many people shared it out, so your information is also getting out there, and that you're reaching your community that way too.
That's great. So you're not really shy to the camera. I believe you've actually been on camera with us once before.
I have.
When was the first time we met?
First Taste TV this summer. Yeah. I was on the Menu Logic episode with Lindsay Hill. I'm a customer. I was actually her beta customer, one of her beta customers. So
what was that like? I'm putting
Lindsay,
you on the spot.
Marlon, do you know the story with me and Lindsay?
No, I don't. But now I really want to know.
Let me tell you. It's a fun story. So I'm a year older than Lindsay, and I worked for the Department of Education. Huh?
You're a year older? No.
Yes.
No.
I look good, right? So I worked for the DOE my first year out of college, and then there are two food service director positions opened up in Indiana. One was South Madison Schools, and one was Shelbyville Central Schools. So I applied to both because I really wanted to get into school nutrition, and I got interviewed at both. I got interviews at both. I interviewed at Shelbyville first, and they actually offered me the job. So I never interviewed at South Madison. So I started at Shelbyville, and my DOE auditor was out, and she was like, there's another really young director that you need to meet. She's at South Madison. Her name's Lindsay Teamy. And I was like, oh yeah, I applied for that job. So we were in a meeting once, and I just walked up to her and I was like, hey girl, heard we need to talk. And so we met at an Applebee's or something and just just started talking war stories, because we were both very young. I was 24. She was probably 23 years old when we became directors. And so we both kind of inherited similar programs. They were run very old school. Everybody who worked there could have been our mom or our grandma. And so we had this leadership challenge and that a lot of things that we had to overcome. So from that moment, we just became friends, and we just really have become really good colleagues, leaning on each other and sharing and learning and networking together. So about 15 years, I've probably known Miss Lindsay, so yeah, being a beta user for her was not hard, because I'm just a very frank person, and being, knowing her for so long, I know I can be honest with her and give her the feedback she needed. So
you guys go back 15 years. You guys went to the same school too, right?
No, we didn't.
I thought you did.
We didn't. So we met afterwards, kind of professionally. Yeah.
I thought you, Jordan, and Lindsay all went to the same school.
No, I went to IU, and they're Purdue girls. So
okay, that's what it was. It was Jordan and Lindsay then. All right.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm so glad you pronounced her maiden name, because I always thought it was like Theme or Teamy.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was Teamy.
Yes.
And so you mentioned that you really wanted to get into school food, right?
Yes.
Why school food?
I did. So my dietetic internship was here in Indianapolis, and we only had a 2-week rotation in school nutrition. And I've always been a food service dietitian. I remember in undergrad at IU, my food service 101, the instructor's like, who's going to be in food service? And I was the lone hand in raised, because everyone just thinks I'm getting into dietetics for clinicals. So I had this 2-week rotation and I absolutely fell in love with it. And so you get to do a 6-week capstone. And I went back to that school district and did my 6-week capstone. And it was just like, this is where I'm going to be. This is it. This is where I want to, this is where my career is going to be. So that director actually helped me get the job at the Department of Education. She helped me. She was a reference and things like that. And to this day, I'm still really close with her. And she's been a great mentor to me over the years.
That is so neat because typically you don't hear about people wanting to get into child nutrition. They just kind of fall into it. Like I fell into it, like Bree fell into it,
Yeah.
People like have them top of mind, like, oh, I want to be in child nutrition.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. It was, like I said, I knew it was going to be food service at some point. And it was just like one of those, you don't work. I mean, just when you're young too, you're like looking at the benefits. You don't work holidays, you don't work weekends, you got a great schedule.
And the
but
pay's
when
great,
I was in
right?
these buildings and in the schools, it just encompassed everything I wanted. I got interactions with employees, I got interactions with students. It was just such a dynamic that I loved, and such a family feel on some level that I really enjoyed. And so, yeah, that was it. That was my goal, was to be in school nutrition, and my entire career has been in school nutrition.
So mission accomplished.
Yes, not leaving either. So.
Oh yeah, me neither. Me neither. It's like a hidden gem. Like whenever you find it, you never want to let it go.
It is. There's a position open up in my home, like where I live. And so like I've been hitting people up that I think would be really good to fill this director position. And I'm like pushing hard. I'm like, you should do this, because I just know what a wonderful, job it is, and what a wonderful community and network. That's the beauty of school nutrition. You aren't competitors. So everybody shares and everybody gives you ideas and, tells you like, do it this way. This is, wonderful, because you're not competing. So you can steal everybody's idea.
So real talk, after this podcast, we need to talk about that job, because I think I might know someone that would be a perfect fit.
Ooh.
Definitely. So what's next? You guys have anything exciting coming up?
So, I mean, it's been a rocky start to 2020 still. So we're working on it. Like I said, we're hopefully having a goals planning meeting. And we are going to sit down and kind of talk about kind of what our goals are going to be for next year. I really want to focus on, you guys have given, I love what Next Gen's doing. I love what First Taste TV did. So I was talking to my assistant director and I was like, I want to make a video this summer. I want to make a video that we can put on social media, that we can send to parents, and just like what makes a meal, walking you through the line. We just have such a poor platform of educating parents and students about school lunch and what it is, that I really kind of want to, step that up a notch and maybe do that. I think that's going to be a big summer project for us, is a video, so we can educate our students and parents better. So.
Well, Indiana.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Indy is like a second home for me. So if you guys ever want help with that, please let me know. I would
love
to help out.
Yeah.
Love to help out.
Who to call. That sounds like a dream project, and we want to help anyway.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Betsey, this was so great having you again. I'm sure we'll see more of you in the next coming months of the Served podcast. Anything else that you wanted to add about your article?
I think sometimes, it's just so refreshing to be able to take a step back and kind of remember why you started in the first place. And sometimes it's the moment that the most stressful moments that also are the ones that you kind of, gain the most from too. You learn the most. And I definitely think that, that's definitely kind of what came out of the pandemic for me.
So real quick, Betsey, my partner, Amanda, she loves to be late to things.
Yeah.
And she was late to this. And although it's my fault, I'm going to blame her. But Mike, can you let Amanda in, please? She wants to say hello, I'm guessing.
Perfect. Hey!
Hello, Queen Lateness. Oh, and of course she logs in and her mic is muted. Her mic is muted, unprepared.
Listen, okay, I'm busy, and it's not my fault that you scheduled something on top of my meeting. Betsey, I sincerely apologize.
You're fine.
I am so happy to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's been so long.
I know. Bree, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
It's almost your birthday.
Oh, when's
It
your
is.
birthday?
Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The big 2-8.
Obviously, you didn't buy her present, Marlon.
Oh, Betsey, he did buy her a present. And by he did, I signed his name.
Usually how it works, huh?
Right.
I couldn't forget her birthday because she bluntly reminded me today that tomorrow is her birthday. Isn't that right, Bree?
Yep, I did.
Well, mine's in 2 weeks, Marlon, so you can, work on my gift next.
Put that on the calendar, please.
Yeah.
Yep. Add to the calendar.
March 1st. Can't remember it first.
You might get that fanny pack you've been waiting for. You never know.
Finally.
Cool. Well, Betsey, thank you so much for contributing an article. Thanks for being an amazing person. And thanks for hopping on the podcast. We appreciate that.
Yeah, it was fun. Amanda, great seeing you. Bree, Marlon, great talking to you guys.
That was great to see you, Betsey.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
So before diving into our next guest, we have something very special to do. And it's not sing me happy birthday.
Because I wouldn't sing you happy birthday anyways. So we have some giveaways, right?
We do. Do you want to talk about the scavenger hunt before we just give it away?
Yeah, let's do the scavenger hunt. Actually, no, it was your idea. Oh, it's not the scavenger hunt. Let's do the Jason Smith giveaway. Why are you passionate about child nutrition? Let's do that.
Yes.
I think we should do that because I have it queued up right now. That's what I'm ready for right now. Is Jason Smith. So Bree, what was that all about? How could you enter, and what did we ask? What was the question?
So we paired up with Jason Smith, who is this Food Network chef, which is pretty cool, who is known for wearing his funky, cool jackets, and he gave us one to raffle off and served. So we wanted to know what, with all of the stories, so we're storytellers, if you haven't figured that out yet. We are school nutrition, passionate storytellers. We wanted to know the stories of your district and your child nutrition stories. So we encourage people to share their stories with us by offering, in exchange for your story, the jacket. And we've gotten some really incredible submissions.
We have. And Mike, can you go ahead and show my screen, please, so I can get this raffle going? All right, so here we go. So I'm going to click start right here. We're going to go through all the people that found the submission link and served and submitted. And let's see who's winning this Jason Smith jacket.
Drum roll. We're
We do.
starting production on this.
Yeah. We'll add that in post. No big deal. Oh, man. Woo! Meredith Bailey, you are our winner. All right, so let's learn a little bit about Meredith. Give me 1 second. Meredith Bailey, let me find your submission. So Meredith has been a director for 20 years, and she loves working with students. She took a 1.5 year break to work in the dairy industry, but came back to child nutrition to serve the children of our future. She loves watching them be excited to eat nutritious meals. There we go.
That's awesome.
Meredith, thank you so much for submitting. Somebody will reach out and get your address so we can send your new autographed Chef Jason Smith blazer. Cool.
Congratulations.
All right. So I believe we have our next guest, Mr. Purcell. Welcome.
Hey guys. Oh, fancy seeing you here.
I know,
Mr.
right?
LTI.
So real quick, let's get a quick intro, Mike. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us about your company, that sort of thing.
Okay. So I am Mike Purcell, Vice President of Sales and Marketing of LTI. I have been in this industry, if I added up your ages, maybe as long as two of you put together. I started my career when I was 8 years old in this business, and being, 38 years old, 30 years old, I'm probably older than you guys. So anyhow, I got into the business in the equipment industry after being in operations for quite a few years. So when I got into that business, I started a rep firm in Metro New York, and I was at my sister-in-law's wedding. and was at the bar. What a surprise. And I was reintroduced by somebody to my wife's second cousin. And it turns out she asked me about what I did. I told her, and she said, you need to get involved in school food service. And I said, well, what do you do? And she says, well, I'm the school food service director for Albany, New York City schools. And my name is Clara Backus, and I am the first cousin of your father-in-law. Then I'm like, oh, okay, I better listen up. So she went on to tell me on how fabulous school food service was. So in the very beginning of my equipment career, which was, well, we won't say how long ago, I took her advice and I got really super involved immediately. So I just rallied up. One of my first events, owning my own rep firm, was a summer workshop with probably like 80 different staff from the Hudson Valley. And I did demonstrations and did cooking lessons, and we had a great time an entire day, and I fed everybody. And then I was sold on school food service. So since then, I have been with LTI now, been affiliated with them since 1996 or 7, I can't remember. And first as a rep, then as an employee, then as a customer, and then as now, my second time around, as vice president of sales for the last 10 years. And what LTI does, not only do we manufacture, but we get super involved with our customers on many levels. We manufacture the widest breadth of serving counter equipment, paired up with the most innovative and value-added serving technologies, like the patented quick switch that you guys saw at Mount Dora, that you can serve hot and cold and frozen foods right next to each other. And then our patented Tempest Air cold pan and those quick switch black glass shelves that you can serve hot or cold foods. But not only do we do all those great serving counters and everything that goes in it, but the entire space we remake. And about 10, 12 years ago, we created a brand called Cafeteria Rescue. And if anybody has seen Served, they may have seen a little preview of Cafeteria Rescue with a 2-minute video that we have on the inside front cover. So we're able to provide all the painting services. First, we design the space, paint the space, design all the signage and wall graphics, and even supply like the industry's best furniture as well. So all of that we call our Cafeteria Rescue brand. So
I have a couple questions, so much to unpack there. You were an operator? I had no idea.
Yeah, so my first job was I was the toast chef at my grandmother's boarding house at 8 years old. So that was a big job. We had sometimes up to 200 guests. And so as a little squirt, putting all different types of toast into different toasters, conveyors and rotisseries and pop-up toasters, because every time we'd build a new building, we would buy another toaster at auction. So that's how I started. But in operations, I was really in higher ed for most of my non-commercial food service operations. But prior to that, I was in restaurants and things like that. So I've never worked in school food, but I've had some healthcare background and also worked in hotels and things like that.
Well, it's really neat because I'm sure you've picked up a lot of experiences that you could take into K-12, you know?
Well, just being around food and serving people and loving food so much. You know, the thing is, Marlon, the one thing I really love about K-12, I tell this, and it seems like a little bit, oh, yeah, you made that up. But I'm honest with this thing. I tell people all the time is that the people in K-12, they're really passionate. They want to learn, and they're super resourceful. So talking to people and sharing ideas and trying to solve problems with people like that is really rewarding. You know, we handle other industries, and as a rep, and then I worked as a food service equipment dealer. And then, you know, we sell into all segments, but there really is nothing like K-12. I mean, we really, really appreciate what they do. And they're also a lot of fun. I mean, as you guys know.
So when this person first told you about K-12 and how you should look into it, like what was your initial thought? Because whenever I was first told about K-12 and potentially working in K-12, it was by my mother. And I was working as I had an IT company that I was working with a long time ago. And she was like, hey, Pasco County Schools is hiring. You should check them out. And I was like, Pasco County Schools, check them out and do what? She was like, Child Nutrition is looking for someone to do IT. And I was like, Child Nutrition? Like, I had no idea what it meant to be part of a child nutrition team until I got there, and it blew my mind. So what was your first thought whenever someone mentioned that to you, that opportunity?
Well, I had just started a family. I made a big risk. So I kind of left like a really good job to start this company. My wife probably should have killed me for doing it. But it was something that I had to do. And so when she brought up that idea, I was thinking, well, this could be a good opportunity. I really didn't know what to think, right? I said, this could be a good opportunity. As it turned out, obviously, here I am how many years later. It obviously was a great decision. I didn't really have any preconceived notions. I've been in non-commercial food service a bit, and it wasn't like foreign to school. So, but it is a bit different. But I like to study like a lot of the businesses that we serve. I think it's important that, that you have that knowledge of what people are trying to achieve. So you have to do that. And I got right in there. I mean, I was in the kitchen. I had this Panasonic microwave that fit 2 full-size steam table pans, the plastic pans. And I cooked lasagnas in them. And I proved that they came out better than they did in a regular convection oven. So being around food all my life, it really kind of came easy to me,
Yeah, that's cool. And I like how you said you left a really good job to essentially follow your passion. And that's something that Bree and Mike have experience with. We actually had an editorial where they spoke a little bit about that, right, Bree?
Yeah, we did. I left a really good job because I'm so passionate about telling stories and video and all things marketing for K-12 food service. And here we are doing what I love.
Hopefully it works out as well as it did for Mike.
Well, guys, I think you might know this. I know Marlon knows this by now. I am really a believer in what you guys are doing. Okay. And I'm a supporter of it. I think what you're doing is really, really powerful, and I wish you all the best with it. You're on a new venture here, but keep going what you're doing. Really, really keep working at it. And I could see, look how much better you're getting every minute. A minute it's all quiet over there, but she's smiling. She has to mute because she's where? At work? Yes.
She's at work. It's awkward with her being silent. You don't normally get that, right?
No kidding.
It's after hours, and actually it's a no school day, so it's actually pretty quiet here, but you never know.
Oh, no school because of the weather?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I guess there's like my buddy in Houston said there's this white stuff falling from the sky and we have no electricity in our schools. And I said,
That happens.
Well, I'm going to head to the mountain and go skiing now.
So Mike, earlier, whenever Bree and I were chatting before we had our first guest, I mentioned that you guys actually did my old high school. You guys redid my old high school. So talk to us about the process for Cafeteria Rescue. Like, when do you guys come in? When do you do the job? How does it get done? When do you guys leave? Like, just give us an overview about the magic that you guys work.
So it can start many different ways, right? Like the one that you guys had, it was a bigger building project, right? So at Land O'Lakes High School, right? Yep. That was a bigger project. Barry came to us, who worked for school food service department. And he said that want to see something like a college food service atmosphere. Can you help? And so
I can see him saying that too.
Yeah, he did. He did. That's all. Yeah. He goes, I drew something up and I want to see if you guys can help with it. And I said, absolutely. So we went to work and we talked to them about the design, but the most important thing to them was how it was going to look, right? So whoever's going to see this from Pasco, I pushed back a little bit. I said, we can make anything look really good. Let's make it work first, right? And Barry was kind of like, no, we better look really good. So I'm like, I got you, brother. So we sent some inspirational pictures and images and tried to get for what you guys were like feeling, because we knew that look was going to be important. More importantly, find out what you didn't like. so that we made sure that our design was out there. So that one there was a little different. There was an architect involved and all that, but a lot of the places that we go into, we're pretty much equipped to, take the field measurements, take all the site survey, take interview the stakeholders, ask all the right questions, fill out the forms that we have to do for our internal process, and then we set off on the design. And many times we get really good input from folks. And because of our expertise in our design team, we actually pull out a pretty good design, like first shot out, right? Very rare to we send a design and they go, oh no, you're way off, because we've been doing this for a while, right? And we have a great team. So once that happens, it goes through some revisions. I don't like this. I don't like that. Why don't we do this? And it goes back and forth, sometimes very smoothly, once or twice, sometimes 10 or 12 times. Willis Smith, who is like the greatest, Willis, right?
Yeah.
Willis is a very patient man, because sometimes it does go back and forth, and it takes a special person to be able to do that.
Andy has the voice of an angel. I heard him singing.
Oh, you
what was
did
that
hear
from?
that?
Was it from Christmas or something? You guys recorded a video of him singing?
So right now, Willis is doing once a month webinars. Willis's Cafeteria Rescue. I don't know. He has some name for it now. And each month he is creating like a new song. And it's usually like some sort of like show tune or something like that he puts his own words to. And then he will sing. So if you come to Willis's webinars, which I think one is coming up next week or the 26th or 20. Yeah, I think it's the 26th of February. If you go to that webinar, you will be entertained and you will learn how to rescue your cafeteria. Now, this one is themed on a smaller budget, right? A lot of these things we like to show are like these huge budgets and all, but not everybody has that money. But Willis is like, he gets just as excited as someone calls him and says, oh, I only got X amount of dollars. Can I do something? Willis is like, yes, we can. We got to make that place look better. Yeah. So, Willis Smith is our education sales specialist, and he travels the country making people happy and doing a good job for them.
Yeah, that's great.
He is the nicest and super knowledgeable. And next time you see him, tell him I will steam his shirt any day.
And she's saying that because Amanda steamed his shirt whenever we were filming First Taste TV.
Like,
I believe I have pictures of it.
We have a full service company.
We are full service.
All right. I'll send my dry cleaning up there, up to chilly New Hampshire.
So how can people find the podcast? Where do they have to go to join or log in?
You mean Willis's?
Yeah.
So if you go to our website, I think it will be under resources, right? So at the first page, there'll be resources, and you'll scroll down and you'll say, like, I think it says webinars. So you could sign up there. Okay. We do a lot of email blasts. So we have like a lot of lists, and we email blast and remind people to come on. What's funny is that Willis did one in January. And a food service director came on from Mississippi or Louisiana, I forget where. And Willis went to visit her already. And she wants to do like new serving lines, new furniture. She wants to do all the walls, all the cafeteria. And it was someone that I don't even know if we've ever met before, right? So, yeah, here's the thing about this. We do a really good job, but I work for the company. Of course, I'm supposed to say that, right? So we're really trying to get other people to, tell the world that we do a good job. So as you saw on that last video that we put in Served, right, where you had Charlene talk about the services we provided, we're doing some more of that. And I know it's sometimes a little weird because you're like, yeah, you really can't. We're not looking at them to say, we're the best in the world and all that. We're just looking for them to say, listen, this worked and it worked really well. And we can do it over a weekend. I mean, that's a big deal. Like a lot of people wait till the summertime to change out a new serving line, or they want to redo the dining room, right? You don't have to. With our guys, they'll come in. Listen, near you, Marlon, Pinellas, I think it was Pinellas.
Yeah.
East Lake High School.
Mm-hmm.
So East Lake High School, this was a while back. We came in on a Friday. They had I don't know why they cleaned the counters, because the counters were all going. So the ladies, cleaned, sanitized all the counters, right? Our guys came in. There was only 3 of them. Had to be 120 feet of stainless steel counters that were there for like 30 years. And they were like really heavy duty, massive counters. Cut them all up, took them all out, cleaned the whole place. It's a massive servery. Clean up the whole place. Saturday morning, 7 a.m., the truck was there. There were 2 tractor trailers in the parking lot. Brought all the stuff in. Willis was there, and Bob Saraceno was there. If you know Bob from Florida,
Bob. I know Bob well.
Yeah. And I think
marketing.
I think it was either 2 or 3 of our guys. I think it was like 2. And then Bob and Willis. Sunday, I was up in New York. I called Bob. How's it going? He goes, I'll be home for kickoff. He's a Tampa Bay fan, lives in. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Nope. And you go see that. I think we might even have a case study on our website. So, so this is something that we are able to knock out. I mean, if it's just like a cafeteria rescue when it comes to vision design, which is our interior design service, sometimes it's done in a day or a day and a half, depending upon the size of it.
So, and can you just talk a little bit more about vision design? Because people may know you guys more for doing counters and serving lines, but you guys actually do decor. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I think we're probably the only manufacturer of serving counters and serving equipment that is able to also handle the interior design and decor and hardware. So we do, I don't know, few dozen a year that are just that, because most of our projects also include the serving counters. And it's really the same process, but what we try to do in order to get it done quickly and not be a nuisance, we will do the design, get the design approved, and if it includes a paint scheme, our painter will go one weekend, get there on Friday after school, over the weekend. So the kids nothing yet, right? Because then the following weekend, right behind them, will be all the beautiful signs and wall art and mascots and all the messages that are put around. So they have like a double thrill, 2 Mondays in a row. And then you see their faces. Like the first cafeteria rescue we filmed, I think you watched it, the one at Warren DeShield School up in Bridgeton, right? At Warren School. That thing, I was there the whole time. I'm not on film. That thing right there, no joke. That was like the best, because what they did is they had windows looking in the cafeteria and they put brown paper up on all of them. No one saw that. I think maybe like 2 of the guys from facilities, custodians or something, and that's it. Including the superintendent, the principal, nobody saw that. So after 3 days of working in that space, that reveal is just incredible. And the kids' faces, that I'm telling you, that was the most fun one, working with Warren and with those people up there. So
yeah, and I just have to mention this. When I went to your facility, I saw the machinery you guys use to cut the signs and to make the signs. It was like something from the future. It was extremely impressive.
Warren, Marlon, we've been on 75 years almost in business, and they just started as like a family business. A few guys got together, and they just, after World War II, started up this really cool little company. They were going to build walk-in refrigerators. A couple years later, they pivoted into food service equipment and never looked back. And then every time we'd grow, kind of like my grandmother's boarding house, every time LTI would grow, they would add another building. Right. Then they would add more sales. They'd add another building. So we did that for a lot of years until 2 years ago when we built a brand new 175,000 square foot state-of-the-art factory and offices. And it's right next door to the old place. And it's a really great American success story being told here at LTI. And they're great people. The reason I work here is that, like, after I got out of the rep business, I probably could have looked around, and checked out all these great factories and manufacturers and probably had a few job offers. I knew I wanted to work for LTI. And it was because the people there that really care about making the customer successful, about making sure that they're satisfied. And if they're not satisfied, going back and making sure they are, if they have a problem, fixing that problem. you don't find that many people in our industry that do that as consistently as the guys at LTI.
I believe it. And you could probably fit like 4 of your old buildings inside one of your new ones, right?
Yeah, it's a big place. It's awesome. So
I'll have to check it out, Mike. Where's my invitation?
It got lost in the mail. Don't worry about it.
No, you're welcome to come down anytime. I don't know how much people are traveling, but I mean, we're open. We're open carefully, following all the guidelines. But we hosted a consultants meeting even a couple of months ago, as it was. Right. So we're open for business. We've been pretty fortunate here during this rocky period of time. We've stayed very, very safe, and we really haven't missed a beat. So knock on wood. I hope that continues. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have a party. I mean, when it really calms down, we'll just have a party.
I'm in.
Okay.
Awesome.
I bet you would be.
Like, sitting on tables. Get it? Like tables. Like
get it.
Company.
Work tables, serving counters.
Yeah. That could make for a fun music video. We'll have to get Willis to come and sing or create a song for us, and film the music video.
Oh.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
No, Bree's liking that. She's like, yeah, this sounds like a good one.
We'll be there. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story and LTI's story. We can't wait to continue to work with LTI and share your success stories as well.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Good to see you.
See you, Mike.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
See ya.
I can't wait for that dance party.
Oh, I know. Me too.
It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be good
awesome.
stuff.
Before we bring on our next guest, let's dive into the scavenger hunt and choose a winner for the served scavenger hunt, which is, if you've been following Served Digizine, if you find the served coin, you can enter to win the scavenger hunt. So we have a list of viewers who have filled out the form because they found the coin.
They did
Who's it
find the
gonna be?
coin. Who's it going to be, Mike? Here we go. Ready?
So
Oh, man.
can
And
you explain what the served coin looks like?
so the served coin is our served S on a turquoise coin, and oh my gosh,
Our first
Betsey
guest.
Willard won. This was not rigged, people. This was not rigged.
And didn't you just say to her you might get that fanny pack that you've been wanting for her birthday? But now
I did say that, but now she's gonna win it. Maybe we'll give her 2.
Betsey.
Maybe we'll give her 2. Congrats, Betsey. Thank you so much for reading Served, as well as contributing to Served, and for playing this game with us. So like we were saying, we have a Served coin that we hide in the issue on a random page every single month. And whenever you find the coin, all you have to do is click on it, because Served is clickable. And you can fill out the form, and you just say your name, your email, and what page you found the coin on. And you can enter into to win this the Served swag bag, which is going to be a fanny pack filled with some goodies for Betsey Willard.
And Marlon, is a served coin getting an upgrade for the March edition?
It might be getting an upgrade, but you don't like me talking about new things, so I'm not going to talk about it.
You know what? That might be interesting. I think we just put it out into the world, and it might look a little different this episode. Oh dear. Yeah, it's so cold in New Hampshire that my brain is starting to freeze.
Is it that, or is it something else?
What? What could it be?
Let's move on. Who's next, Bree?
So our next guest is Dr. Hall-Campbell from ICN. Let's bring her on.
Oh man, this is all right. Hi, Dr. Hall-Campbell. Welcome.
Hello. Hi.
Quickly, before you introduce yourself, I have to tell the world how in love Amanda is with you. I know you know, because every time we get on a call, she always girl crushes about you, talks nonstop about how much she loves you, how much she wants to be you. Actually, Amanda, do you want to introduce her? How do you guys know each other?
So, I've been in this industry for about 10 years, and Aleshia worked for ICN, and I was actually one of the test subjects for the first director's training. And we went down to ICN and got our first taste when Dr. Katie Wilson was still the director there. And then Dr. Hall-Campbell stepped in as the interim, and then I came up, and I always saw her from afar, and I thought she was gorgeous, but that's beside the point.
Here we go.
They're really well dressed, but highly intelligent, unbelievably articulate, and just renowned everywhere she went. And I was sitting here at my desk on this ball, and I looked over at my phone, and it said on my caller ID, Hall-Campbell. And I picked it up, and I was like, hello? And she said, hey, Amanda, this is Aleshia Hall-Campbell. And I was like, I know who you are. Why are you calling me? And that's how we had our first conversation. And I have been a big fan. You have been a mentor to me and someone I've looked up to for so long, and whose work I respect just so much. And I tell you this all the time, but I want to tell the world, the work that you guys do with ICN is amazing, but you specifically have been a role model for me since before you knew you were. And thank you for that.
Oh, that warms my heart. Everybody needs a cheerleader like Amanda. I appreciate those kind words. Amanda has also, what she didn't say, has been a strong advocate for the Institute. She also served on our advisory board for 3 years and gave us the real life perspective of a child nutrition director from a small school district. So she has been extremely valuable to the Institute as well. So we appreciate the partnership there.
I was trying to find my certificate. I think it fell off the wall when they were cleaning. I'm gonna have to find it here.
So how did you get your start at ICN? Like what road took you there?
That's a very interesting question. Actually, my background was public health, and my PhD, my master's is in public health, and PhD was in higher ed, adult leadership, adult education training. So I was just up one random night, Sunday late night, actually, just perusing the website, wasn't looking for a job in any way, and saw a job offer, a job announcement for the Associate Director of Cooperative Agreements. I was like, let me just put my name in a hat and just see what happens. I also have an evaluation background, and they were looking for someone with some evaluation experience. And it just kind of happened, and got the interview and have been with the Institute now 11 years. So it's been an amazing journey. So, talking with amazing, passionate individuals all across this country who are just working so hard to make sure our nation's children are receiving healthy, nutritious meals by any means necessary, legally, of course. But just during the pandemic, being on the front lines to make sure that children are receiving meals when their families don't have, finances to do that has just been so amazing to be able to watch and witness, and just making sure that they get that acknowledgement and honor that they so well deserved. So it's just been an amazing journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I just want to talk about their bread pudding for a second. It's part of the advisory council. I recommend it for nothing but the bread pudding dessert from the catering department. It is little things sometimes, right? No.
It is something else. I didn't eat bread pudding before I started working at the Institute, but it is something. It is definitely a Southern delicacy, sugar and butter, but we just have it once. But it's our signature item, and everybody comes asking for the bread pudding. So
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, it is something else.
And just for lunch, like just a tray of the bread pudding would be fantastic. Yeah.
That's your whole meal for the day, though.
$1,000 to sign me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much great work. And even as part of the advisory board, every time I would go, I'd find these new and amazing things that you guys do. Tell the people at home how they can request some of these products for free in a box, print it out. You just send this package of knowledge and care and love and professional development to people for free.
I know, it's like a hidden gem, and we're still going around the country, and well, not physically right now, but just going around telling people that we are funded through USDA to be a resource for all federally funded child nutrition programs. We receive money to make all of our trainings, research-based trainings and educational resources free, available to anyone to download, to utilize in any aspect. There's a multitude of formats and modalities just because we do have a national scope. And we're working with so many different levels on the school nutrition realm. We have, state agency directors, as well as frontline staff, and Miss Mary, who's running her daycare from home. And so just being able to make sure that we're meeting all of the educational needs across the board. So we have face-to-face trainings, which are on hold right now due to the pandemic, but we have virtual instructor-led trainings where there's a live teacher who's interacting and engaging with the participants. We have self-paced online courses, videos, fact sheets, posters, and if there's anything that any director or any individual would like to request, call us, contact us at the Institute, 1-800-321-3054, or via email, helpdesk@theicn.org. We can print and ship those materials free of charge to you. So if you're doing a training and you need some resources, or you have some posters, hand washing posters, glove use posters, we have a great basics at a glance poster. We can print those resources and make those available. Also, go ahead. Yes.
How many languages?
Right now we have English and Spanish. We're exploring some possible additional languages, but just how we prioritize that based on the various regions, we're kind of struggling with how to identify the next level. But right now you can find resources available, of course, in English, and we have some Spanish resources that are available.
That is so cool.
Always thinking and always pushing, and you guys were ready for COVID. And because I don't know if you guys know this, Marlon and Marie, because we haven't spent a lot of time in Oxford, Mississippi altogether. But next field trip, while we eat our bread pudding, they have cameras in all of their training facilities. So they were 100% up. And you guys pivoted so quickly in this COVID environment to get your one-on-one trainings to people in a way that they could consume during this time. Can you talk a little bit?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We have an amazing information services IT division, and we had started exploring virtual trainings a few years back and started purchasing the equipment to do that just because, inclement weather and things like that can sometimes cause challenges to doing face-to-face training. So we wanted to have some kind of alternative solution in place. So we were ready. And so when COVID struck, we were able to pivot very quickly because we had sort of piloted some of these virtual instructor-led trainings prior to the pandemic. So it was a very, I won't say seamless, but a very easy transition for us to be able to just keep the operations of the Institute running and being able to serve and provide trainings, at the time that it was critically needed. You had a lot of people who were working remotely and needed to receive professional development because they were working remotely and not physically in the operation. And so they accessed and utilized our online courses, as well as some of our webinars that we also host each month. So it definitely made for an easy transition.
Yeah, I know the last time Amanda was there, she actually called me with, I think, was that when you called me with Beverly Gerard, Dr. Gerard? I think you did. And she was like up in the studio or the control room or something, bragging about where she was and how cool it was and how high tech you guys were.
Yeah, no, it looks like a television station control room. And so that's what we want to be able to do is, our thought prior to COVID was that we would host a training at the Institute and pipe it out to people all across the country, with one trainer there and everyone could access it. So again, we were trying to be innovative to make sure that we were getting the resources to the end users.
Well, speaking of resources, we were extremely happy to partner up with ICN once again for a resource of the month. So you guys worked with us on First Taste TV, had a resource of the day for our First Taste TV episodes, but now we've taken it to the next level and you guys are providing free resources through Serve Digizine to people all across the country, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one that we featured in the last issue was our star webinar. And that one we were really proud about because it was at the end of 2019. We really wanted to do something to honor and acknowledge child nutrition professionals. And so it was just a tribute to the work that had been done during the 2020 school year. And so we featured some districts and some things that they had done as it related to COVID, but also had a scroll across the webinar screen that paid tribute to those who submitted their names to be recognized. So we're always looking for ways to recognize the efforts of school nutrition and child nutrition professionals. So.
Yeah, I was selfishly excited whenever I saw the video that you guys sent over because two of my good friends are in there. Aaron Smith from Seattle Public Schools was one of them, and Lauren Couchois from Greenville County. So I was really happy to see both of them. So shout out to them. Good job, guys.
No, and they're both doing some amazing things and being able to, continue to deliver meals in a very unique way. So, and that's what part of what the Institute's role, is to identify best practices and strategies. And share those with others so people aren't reinventing the wheel. Yeah. If it's working really well in another district, how they can modify or adapt some type of strategy or practice to be able to incorporate. So we're always looking for ideas and things that operators are using so we can share those with others. So we're just kind of that conduit of information where people can access information, but also being able to share information.
I love it. Sharing is caring. Well, Dr. Hall-Campbell, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to hang out with us, talk about ICN and you. We're huge fans of ICN and, of course, you, as Amanda will attest to.
It's been a pleasure. I appreciate the invitation. And if there's anything we can do, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, we'll do. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. You didn't
You okay, Amanda?
Me the chat.
Oh, yeah. So everybody listening, we have a private chat for all the guests and the people that are running the podcast, and we use it to chat with everybody. So when Amanda is saying how much she loves Dr. Hall-Campbell in the chat, yes, she can see that, along with Monique, who is ready to join us.
Oh,
Monique, what's up?
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
So you have not had a chance to meet Bree and Amanda yet, have you?
Not Bree in person, and Amanda last winter conference.
That's right.
ILSNA in Oak Brook.
Okay. Well, for the people that don't know who you are, let's get a little intro.
Yes. So who am I? I am Monique Batteast. I am a food service professional, a lover of child nutrition. My background stemmed from hospitality, and over the years worked in, hospitality, contract food service, at elementary school, politics, and now work for the Greater Chicago Food Depository, where I lead the No Kid Hungry Illinois campaign.
That is awesome. So what exactly is the No Kid Hungry campaign? Talk to us about that.
Got it. So No Kid Hungry is a partnership with Share Our Strength. And Share Our Strength, they lead No Kid Hungry like nationwide. So they always find like an organization that they will partner with throughout the US. So I am fortunate to work with Share Our Strength and No Kid Hungry. They also have other programs like Cooking Matters. And then they have a lot of programs where they bring in like chefs to do a lot of fundraising. So everybody loves anything about children. So it's pretty awesome, like the work that they've been doing. And they've been around for, I want to say a little over like 20 years. So
that's a long time. So
yeah.
For those who have not been lucky enough to read your article in Served, do you want to give us a brief recap of that?
Sure. So what ignites me? It all started, I guess, when I was younger. I had high hopes of becoming a chef, learning how to cook at a young age with my father. And then when I went to college, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get my business degree, and then I'll go to culinary school. But in between, I had to do an internship for my degree. And that's when I worked in the kitchen, and I realized the kitchen wasn't for me. I liked the industry, but not the back of the house. I'm more of the front of the house. And from there, I just kind of fell into like children nutrition. So I feel like I'm connecting like my passion with food, because food comes in so many different ways. It's not always just a 5-star meal. Like food is like nourishment for your soul. So I like to think about, one, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So why not like work with the school system and like the students? And I like the fact that, we are given like access to not only just the students, but also like the parents. So working in education from an operations standpoint, not in food service, but I did manage the cafeteria staff, but just being there to witness what teachers go through, what principals go through on a daily basis. And what a difference just having like a snack bar in the main office can make when little Johnny comes in and like, my stomach hurt and I don't feel good. Here, have this. And it's like I gave him a steak dinner, and like the rest of the day was fantastic. So yeah.
I've actually done a lot of work with No Kid Hungry and implementing innovative school breakfast programs in my schools. And I read in your article that you specialize in bringing awareness to school breakfast and getting, the community on board with school breakfast and promoting the importance of school breakfast. So for any parents that might be listening right now, or any school administrators, can you just go into a little bit of detail? And I know there's a lot of layers there, but why school breakfast is so important, especially with National School Breakfast Week is just 2 weeks from now. So what are some of the things that you're working on or have worked on? And then what should people know about school breakfast?
Well, I mean, breakfast is definitely the most important meal of the day. And I just like to think about it as, let the school kind of help support not only the student and the families. We know everybody has a hectic schedule. So use what's right there in front of you. Like most schools are able to provide meals. You have a handful of schools that don't, but we appreciate being able to support like the students. And studies show like their school day goes better, their cognitive skills are better, they test better. By the time you get to lunch, like you've already missed like some quality time in the middle of the day. And then after school, and then also like the summer meals, but like breakfast, like you're really jump starting the day. And just doing like some research with some of our families, we're noticing like they just don't have that time. So a lot of parents do rely on school breakfast, and they do see like a difference with their children. And another thing that I like to talk about with breakfast, a lot of teachers, they tend to spend a lot of their own personal money to feed the students, and they can spend anywhere up to $32 a week just keeping like snacks in their drawer. So we just like to say, we're here to help you. It's not shaming you of any sort. We're not saying like you're without, because we want to keep everything private. And that's why I'm a fan of like schools that enroll into like the CEP program, which allows like all students to eat at no cost to them. I don't like to say free because it's being paid for somewhere, somehow, but it's not at a cost for like the parents.
So I have a question for the three of you. When implementing breakfast for the first time within a school district, what are some of the biggest obstacles you guys faced, and how do you overcome them? Who wants to go first?
Administrators,
Yes.
and then administrators. So what has happened with COVID is that we've been doing grab and go breakfast. And it seems like the trend across the United States is that where grab and go breakfast eating in the classroom was, oh, we can't do that. We can't eat in the classroom. It's going to cause a mess and they're going to have to clean up. Well, now eating in the classroom is a fact. It's a way of life. So it allowed us to get into the classroom in the morning, and time in the educational school day is so precious. So actually getting that time for breakfast was nigh impossible. But now that it's been integrated into a morning meeting, for example, we've seen a huge increase in breakfast participation from 100 to 300% across the country when you're talking to directors. And Monique, Marlon, and I listened to a business podcast, which, what is it called? P with Q, Marlon?
X with Q. Shout out to Pastor Q.
Says that you should not make any business decisions after 12 o'clock. Like, you shouldn't be making any big decisions after 12 o'clock because of the way that our brains process and the way that our brains actually are fully functioning in those morning hours. So it's actually the fuel from that breakfast is empowering your mind for the most important hours of your day. So I just thought that was fascinating. But I'm so happy with the huge leap that breakfast has taken and the necessity that now they all understand.
Yep. No, I second that. So I do support the entire state of Illinois. I am housed in Chicago. So of course, most of my relationships are more local, but due to COVID, I'm speaking with people in central and southern Illinois that have not participated in breakfast after the bell. And once they've seen how the meals are being prepared and served, as soon as we go back to whatever new norm, they are going to advocate for breakfast in the classroom. And this has been board members I communicate with, superintendents, principals, even parents. Like, they just see the importance. So for me, that's like the silver lining with this pandemic, that more people are really understanding the importance of not only just breakfast, but all meals. But of course, you have to start the day with breakfast.
Absolutely. So Bree, what about you? Do you agree with both of them?
Yeah, I would say administration for sure. And almost this is going to sound crazy and silly, but almost every time we tried to pass or implement a new breakfast idea, it was always the carpet in the classroom was like the end all. Like, absolutely not. We can't have breakfast on the carpet. But I would say administrators. But COVID really has helped the community and administrators support school meals more.
And another barrier, I know it's the administrators, but also I will always tap into the teachers and the custodial staff and the building engineers, especially my building engineers. If I can get their buy-in, then it makes it a little easier, because now we can touch on cleaning the carpet, or we have a process, or we're using like stronger garbage bags, or we have the white balls for the classroom. So once, because we have champions, like with the work that we do, like who's going to advocate for our body of work. And I do have a handful of engineers that have spoke to say, like, no, it's not really as bad as it is. As long as you have your system in place, we can make this work.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. I've never heard someone mention the building engineers. I normally hear teachers, principals, and custodians.
Yeah, sometimes you have to think outside the box, and you look at the engineer, he or she is there at the beginning of the day, 5, 6 in the morning, sometimes to the end of the day. So they really know what's going on, and they can also be the ones to say, absolutely not, because they do know if your school have like a rodent problem or something that else is going on. But yeah, engineers are a good way to go.
Cool. Well, Monique, thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you for hopping on the podcast with us. How can people learn more about No Kid Hungry, learn about what you do, find you on social media? I know you do some cool things on social media.
Yes.
Here's your opportunity for a shameless plug.
Well, yeah. So with my Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 with No Kid Hungry Illinois, we're one of 2 states that has a different name as well. We are also Rise and Shine Illinois. So just to see the work that we're doing, riseandshineillinois.org. And the other state that has Rise and Shine is Massachusetts. So yes, riseandshineillinois.org has all the information there. even my email address. But then also my email address is mbatiste@gcfd.org. So that's what I do Monday to Friday. But Monday to Friday in the evening, I also enjoy some lovely wine and spirits. So I have started my little version of a blog on Instagram, wine.whiskey.water. So I believe in the 3 W's, and that's how I survive everything. So
as you can see, Amanda's looking it up right now. Amanda, you would dig her IG.
Yes. So I've been encouraged in working on a full-fledged blog, but I just started kind of easy with Instagram.
Cool.
Yeah. So wine.whiskey.water. It's moments with Mo. All things about wine, whiskey, water.
I love it.
This is great. I feel so honored to be on here. You say what?
Can I be on that podcast? Yeah.
Look, once I get that ball rolling, I know exactly where to stop to even get it started, because you guys are doing some fabulous things, and I appreciate this space that you guys have created.
Thank you. Well, it's people like you that really inspire us to do what we do, and a lot of the passion that we have, because this issue's theme was passion, but a lot of the passion that we have stems from people like you and all the hard work that you guys put in. You really fuel us to do what we do. So thank you once again.
Awesome. Well, I would have loved to stay longer. I can talk all day. I don't see people too often, working from home. So,
well, how about we bring you back for a round 2 very soon?
All right. I'm up for it.
Sounds good.
This is so clever. I have now checked out of our podcast completely. You're going to have to close it because this is just super fun.
Well, how about I throw Bree the ball this time? Because normally it's always me or you closing, and she is not prepared to close. So
I am not prepared.
Trial by fire, Bree, go for it.
Monique, thanks for joining us today. And you can check us out on firsttastetv.com, servedigizine.com, and you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Vimeo.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's pretty awesome.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
My favorite.
Are we done?
I love her.
Yeah, she's awesome.